Hey, Pretty Girl Club, welcome back to the Beluga series. And I just wanted to come on here to announce that most men are belugas as well. Most men are belugos. So you got the female version, that's the beluga, and then you got the male version, he's a belugo. And I find it interesting how there are literally women out here crying over their exes. They're fiending for men that they used to know back in high school or college. Ma'am, have you even looked up that guy? He is probably 500 pounds by now. And a lot of men will lie to themselves and they'll be like, oh, well, women like men who are football players. No, football players have muscles, Tyrone. They actually have muscles. They have six packs. They have biceps. They're actually athletic. And most of all, of course, they make millions. How many millions are you getting paid to eat that Popeye's chicken? So I find it interesting that you've got men on this app who are literally bragging, trying to pretend that they look like a linebacker. No, you do not look like a linebacker. No, you do not look like a multi-millionaire NFL player. Men are over here walking around with bowling ball stomachs, yellow teeth, receding hairlines. They're always taking up space in Popeyes. They literally create the longest lines at the drive-thru. Go to the drive-thru right now, and I guarantee you, 7 out of 10 cars who are holding up traffic, it's probably going to be a bunch of belugos. It's a bunch of belugos because let's think about this. A lot of men who are obese, they're obese because they can't cook. And then they try to get the woman to be their girlfriend. Why does he want a girlfriend so bad? It's because he wants a free chef. He wants a woman that's going to make him gumbo every day and fried chicken, and he wants to explore your African American heritage by having you cook food for him. That's why you got these beluga white men, these Santa Claus looking white men fiending over women who are black. He just wants a personal chef and ex-worker. That's what it is. And then you have all these fat men who are literally going to the car lot. They're purchasing these giant pickup trucks and they're driving around in their SUVs. They do a bad job at parking. They take up all the parking spaces at the grocery store. They will literally park so close to the front to where disabled women can't even walk into the store because you got all these big ass pickup trucks blocking the way. And then they're always trying to honk at you. Have you ever noticed that the men who have the most road rage, they tend to be beluga males? They're beluga males. I have never seen an attractive, smart, wealthy, in shape man who has extreme road rage to the point where he's honking at women, unless he's like an incel. But for the most part, a lot of the men who have the worst road rage are fat men. They're extremely fat. And it's like, yeah, he's emotionally dysregulated. He hasn't had the proper amount of protein in 6 months. He's dehydrated. He never drinks water. Have you ever noticed the fat guy at your job? He is never drinking water. He always has a Coke in his hands. He's always got Mountain Dew. He's constantly guzzling down black coffee and sweet teas. I mean, he's drinking anything except water. And you expect us women to put these types of men on a pedestal? So you're saying that my YouTube channel is extreme because I talk about women decentering men. But it's not extreme that he centers his life around Popeye's chicken and Wingstop? Because they're always taking up the line in Wingstop. Have you ever gone to Wingstop and they will literally be out of half of the sodas? Have you ever tried to use the soda machine at Wingstop? And you know how you press the button and you can choose what soda? They're always out of all the cherry flavors, all the fruit punch flavors, all the grape sodas are gone. The lemon lime flavors are gone. Who do you think drank up all the sodas? It was the male belugas. It was the beluga males. Because they don't drink water, so I don't know why they're trying to suddenly act like being big is healthy. And they try to live vicariously through NFL players. Sir, NFL players have straight teeth. You don't. I'm sorry, I'm just ranting today, but I just wanted to announce that if you are a woman who is missing an ex, or maybe you're like fiending over some guy, or some guy ghosted you, of course he ghosted you. He knows that you're about to ghost him. That's the only reason he ghosted you. He's just trying to ghost you first before you end up ghosting him. That's really what this is. Oh, well, my boyfriend, he was a beluga male and he cheated on me. Well, yeah, it's because he felt like it was only a matter of time before you left him. So he already knew he wasn't shit. So he's cheating to humble you. He's cheating so he can build his own ego. And have you ever noticed it's always the biggest man in the room who has the most to say about a woman's body. And it's always somebody with a bowling ball stomach who's constantly bragging about being an alpha male. He's bragging about the women that he used to bag back in 2005. And I've noticed this pattern where a lot of men are extremely emotionally codependent. Have you ever gone into the gym? First of all, these men who are belugas, they don't even work out. His workout is jacking off to corn. That is his daily arm workout. And most beluga males, they have memberships at Planet Fitness or LA Fitness. So once a month when he goes into the gym, he's never working out. Have you ever gone to the gym and there's always a beluga male hovering over the machine? He's hovering over you. He's trying to pretend like he's waiting in line to use the machine, but in reality, he's just watching you. Or he's just like trying to make you feel intimidated or uncomfortable. It's like, sir, if you want to use the machine, you don't have to stand and hover right behind the person that's actually using the machine. Also, I've never seen men do that with other men. You never see the beluga going up to the buff guy in the gym and trying to intimidate him because he knows he'll get his ass beat. So he never tries to hover over other men. He never tries to dominate and subjugate men who are stronger than him or men with more social status. I've noticed a lot of beluga males, they always do it to the women. They're constantly trying to dominate and subjugate women. They're constantly verbally abusive towards women. Why is that? Well, it's because he doesn't have any power in society as a whole. Think about how men are devalued in society, just in general, whether he's in shape or not. So imagine a man where not only is he devalued based on his gender, but he's also devalued based on his weight and his face. So this man is constantly chasing behind whoever this alpha male is. And you guys know my opinion on this. I don't really subscribe to that mindset, this whole alpha male bullshit, because I've noticed a lot of the men who call themselves alpha males are really just misogynistic. You know, they think that you're an alpha male if you're mean to women, and then if you're nice to women, then you're a quote unquote simp. But have you ever noticed that a lot of beluga men, they actually simp for other men? So it's like, sir, you're the one that's bowing down and worshiping this buff guy at the gym. You're the one that's too scared to wait in line at the machine when the buff guy is using the weight machine. So instead, you want to hover over the women. You want to hover over the petite, skinny, small women because you feel like it's less intimidating. And have you ever noticed that a lot of men who are insecure about their bodies, they tend to seek a lot of validation from women? In fact, if you don't believe me, go on to any male fitness YouTubers channel right now. Go to these male fitness YouTubers and they will tell you that the whole point of them getting in shape, it's literally for the female gaze. Everything they do is just based on the female gaze. They just want to dominate and subjugate women. They want to constantly chase after us. That's why I say that decentering men is actually normal. You don't have to center men because they're going to chase you either way. They're still going to talk to you. They're still going to want to date you. They're still going to want to sleep with you. They'll still be in your DMs. They will still be trying to send you cash apps and harassing you at work. So it's like, you don't have to center men in order for them to center you. I feel like a lot of women with this pick-me mindset, they're pick-me's because they're scared of being alone or they're afraid of not being picked. And I find that ironic because in reality, a lot of men are actually the biggest pick-me's. I mean, if you look at who's complaining the most about divorce rates, it's men. Who's complaining the most about not having kids? It's men. Who is complaining the most about the dating market? It's men. So they're the ones who are actually suffering. They're the ones who need and want women more than women need and want them. But I've also noticed that a lot of guys, they try to do this coping mechanism where they're like, oh, as a man, you don't have to be attractive. You just have to have status. And it's like, sir, attractiveness is a form of status. So what are you talking about? You can't just look like Shrek and then get cocky because you make $70K a year. Like, are you kidding me right now? But I've noticed that a lot of them can't overcome their own vices because think about that. If somebody is obese, that is a person who they tend to use food as an emotional regulation tool. And if you guys haven't seen my other videos, I talked about how most men have unhealthy coping mechanisms. A lot of them are really bad at regulating their emotions because when they were little boys, they weren't taught how to regulate their emotions. They weren't really taught emotional intelligence. Let's think about how young men are raised. It doesn't matter about their race. Like, generally speaking, men tend to be raised to be competitive. to dominate and subjugate other people. Even if you think about the games that little boys play, they play shooting games, they play with soldiers, they play war games. All of their quote unquote play tends to be based on fighting. It tends to be based on subjugating others. And then look at the little games that girls play. House. Girls play with Barbie dolls. They draw, they paint, they create things. They create bracelets and jewelry and stuff. A lot of men are not socialized to be creative. They're not socialized to do anything other than compete with others. Who is more likely to get into a fight over a poker game? Who's more likely to get into a fight over a basketball game? Women or men? And it's hilarious because a lot of men will be like, oh, women hate women a lot. Like, women are way worse. No, actually, men are way worse because men resort to physical violence against other men. In fact, a lot of men will get into fights with their own friends. They'll get into fist fights with their own friends over a basketball game. And then they'll be like, oh, we're still friends. Okay, so that tells me that men are used to toxic relationships. He has a toxic relationship with his own brother. Have you ever met men who compete with their brothers? They never encourage their brother. They never tell their sibling. They never tell him, hey, I love you. You're a great brother. They never do that. Everything they do is like a competition. Oh, well, I look better than you. Oh, well, my girl looks better than your girl. Oh, well, I make more money than you. So most of them are socialized to have toxic relationships. And if you look at men's obesity rates, being obese, that's a sign of having a toxic relationship with food and having a toxic relationship with yourself. So you're telling me that I am supposed to center my life around a man who has bad relationships with his family, bad relationship with his father, but then he has the audacity to talk shit about women with no fathers. Or in some cases, he himself is a baby father. Have you ever noticed it's always the baby daddies who talk the most shit about baby mamas? And it's like, sir, why are you getting mad at the parent who stayed? You're mad at the parent who decided to stay and raise those kids full time? And then you got men who want to be worshipped for being a single dad. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you guys have heard about the new trend where a lot of mothers are actually signing over the parental rights to the fathers now. So instead of them being a quote unquote single mother, they're actually making their exes into single fathers. And then you got men getting mad like, oh, well, you're a bad mother. And it's like, wait, so if the mother sees her children every other weekend, she's a bad mother. But if a father sees his children every other weekend, he's a good father. Do you see the hypocrisy there? Also, do you guys remember Kevin Samuels back in the day when he used to be like, oh, what is your dress size? He was talking a lot about women's dress sizes and trying to humble women based on them being fat. And it's like, okay, so why are you getting mad that women are now keeping the same energy? Sir, what is your pant size? You're over here talking about my pant size. What is your pant size? When's the last time you worked out? And all this BS where men are talking about taking a woman on a walk in the park as a date. Not only is that not a date, but sir, you can barely even walk without your thighs rubbing together. You're about to start a fire with your inner thighs. You have a BBL right now, sir. You look like you just got a fresh BBL. You are a bootylicious man. You're literally a bootylicious white man. You're a bootylicious black man. Your hips are wider than mine. And you're talking about, oh, you want to take a woman on a walk in the park. You can't even walk. You can hardly walk without your thighs swishing together. Have you ever heard somebody walking past and their pants are rubbing together? Like their booty is switching back and forth as they walk. That's literally how a lot of these beluga men are. Sir, you are a beluga male. Your hips don't lie. You literally have more curves than I do. You have a curvier waist to hip ratio than most women. You are bootylicious. You're talking shit about women getting plastic surgery. Sir, you need 360 lipo. I don't know why you're talking about these female rappers getting 360 lipo. You actually need to get 360 lipo. And also, I hear a lot of men talking about looks maxing and getting in shape and getting 10% body fat. First of all, that's laughable. That is laughable. A man being at 10% body fat. The average man will never get to 10% body fat and have lean muscle. That's literally do you know how much protein a man would have to take in on a daily basis? Do you know how much discipline that would take? Most men can't even discipline their dicks. He can't even see a pretty woman and have self-control. Most men will literally just take anything. They're searching for emotional breadcrumbs from women. They're searching for validation from women. They don't have any male friends. They've got 25 female friends. They can't resist a woman giving him her phone number. He can't resist a cookie. So what makes you think that suddenly he's going to be able to achieve 10% body fat? That Oh my god. That is laughable to me. I just think it's so hilarious. Whenever I see these male fitness creators, they'll be like, "Yeah, man, just get down to 10% body fat. Women are going to treat you like a celebrity." And then they show people like King 6'8" the Great or whatever that guy's name is, and then all it is like women saying hi to him. And they're like, "Yeah, see? You're being treated like a celebrity. They're worshiping you." Men are so validation starved that if you as a woman say hi to him, he's literally going to go around and brag that you are worshiping him. This is exactly why I don't have any male friends. Because men will brag about anything. "Oh, yeah, she said hi to me the other day. Yeah, she asked me for my number. Oh, we went on a walk at the park together. Yeah, that's my bitch. I get all the bitches. I'm an alpha male. I'm a super mega alpha male. I'm a giga Chad. I get all the Stacys. I get all the bitches." And also, I find it really funny and ironic that you got tens of thousands of men calling themselves alpha males. And it's like, you guys can't all be alpha male. Like, so you're telling me that you come from a group of men. You're telling me you're poor, you're broke, your stomach is shaped like a bowling ball, you are built like Humpty Dumpty. You're telling me you're shaped like a marshmallow, face card is declining, hairline is receding. You don't even want to fly to Turkey to get a hair transplant, which is only $2,500. So seeing as you're such an alpha male, and since you're so rich and so powerful, you should be able to fly to Turkey then to get yourself a hair transplant. But you can't even get that. And then you want to try to convince us women that you're an alpha male. And some of these men, they're relying on things like their race and skin tone, and they're saying that's what makes them alpha. They'll be like, "Well, black men are the most desirable. Well, I'm a white man, so, you're a woman of color, so you automatically want me." So they're literally basing their quote unquote alphaness based off of them being black or being white or being tall. They pick and choose one feature. But then if you're a woman, if you do that, you're delusional. If you say that because you're pretty, you're an alpha female, you're delusional. If you say that because you're in your 20s, you're the most desirable, oh, you're delusional. Oh, you're not a 10, you're just a 6. And isn't it interesting how the main ones who are trying to enforce this scale, this 1 to 10 scale, who are the main ones trying to enforce that? Is it men or women? It's men. And it's like, sir, if you're such an alpha and you get all the bitches, then where are they? Why are you so mad then? Why are you so salty if you're truly getting all the bitches? And then when you ask these men, okay, what does it mean to get all the bitches? They literally start describing being community dick. They'll be like, "Oh, it's because I slept with 10 girls this week." Okay, so you're basically a gigolo then. You're just a hoe. So the same thing you shame women for being. If a woman were to say, "Oh, I slept with 10 guys in 1 week," you wouldn't call her an alpha female. You would say that she's just a hoe. So why is it that if a woman does it, she's a hoe, then if a man does it, he's an alpha? He's just so desirable. Everybody just can't resist him. That's why he slept with 10 people in 1 week. But then if you're a woman doing that, or if you're a woman who's like an ex-worker, or you have an OnlyFans or whatever, then suddenly you're the bottom of the barrel. You're trash. Do you see why a lot of people say that men are literally jealous of women? They're literally jealous. And for the men that try to put women down for being in shape, those men are jealous. If he could be in shape tomorrow, he would. If he could have a six-pack tomorrow, he would be posting pictures on social media with his shirt off too. You know how they say that women are thirst trapping? They'll be like, "Oh, you're posting a thirst trap because you put a picture of yourself in a bikini." And it's like, sir, if you had the same level of body muscle that she had, you would be posting yourself shirtless all the time. So you're making fun of a woman because she's 10% body fat or 20% body fat. But meanwhile, if you had that same amount of athleticism, you would be flaunting that everywhere. And I also want to point out the fact that most men are has-beens. So when I say he's a has-been, what I mean is a lot of men peaked in high school. A lot of them peaked in college. A lot of them peaked in their early 20s or, whenever they had their hairlines. Whenever he was in shape, whenever he didn't have all those wrinkles, whenever he had all of his teeth, that is back when he peaked. So they talk all this shit about women using beauty enhancements. And in reality, I think a lot of them are just jealous. They would use beauty enhancements too if it were socially acceptable. They would. And by the way, remind me if you're in the Patreon, please remind me to tell the story about the guy that I met who was wearing elevator shoes. I have to tell that story. So if you're a part of the Patreon, can you please remind me of that in the Discord? But I just came on here to talk my shit, and I just wanted to announce that most men are belugas. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.